Hey, and welcome to another Podcast Valley Sunday. I am one of your hosts, Chris Paco.
And I'm your other host, Jeff Cameron.
How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, okay. How about you today, Paco?
I don't know. I'm a little scared. We're hopping into this Monstrous Monkee Mash, full of monsters, full of castles, scary people. I gotta say,
spooky vibes all around.
It is. It's scary. Scary times.
Did you happen to know when it was shot?
No. I do not know when it was shot.
It was filmed Halloween, 1967.
Really, on Halloween? That's kind of fun.
And the next couple days after as well, but Halloween, for sure.
I wonder if they just saw that they were coming up to Halloween, like, well, let's just do like a scary one. We'll just do it around that time. Because, NBC opens up the back lot of spooky stuff around Halloween. So like, well, let's take advantage of this.
And then we'll just put it out at the end of January. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We won't mention Halloween in it. It'll be monsters. So this week we've got Monkees episode number 50, the half-century mark for the Monkees television series. Big episode.
Yeah, man.
The Monstrous Monkee Mash, directed by our good buddy James Frawley, taking us home.
Back.
Written by Neil Bierston and Paul Panic, or Panic. I don't know. It's a CH at the end, so we'll see. Right. Neil broke away from Paul Mazursky and the other Paul, whoever he used to, the three of them. He went on his own, got a new Paul. Originally aired on January 22nd, 1968, as we were just chatting about. So, we open up on a scary castle with lightning and thunder, and you may recognize this castle because it's the same castle as in Monkey See, Monkey Die, the very second episode of the Monkees. And I actually, when I saw it, I was like, is this one? So I went back and checked, and yep, there it was.
I wonder if Davy noticed when he was rolling up to the place.
I wonder if he saw it again. He's like, wait, isn't this where we got that organ? So inside this castle, Davy's following this woman around. Her name is Lorelei.
This woman.
And there's like a knight's armor in the side, and it drops its axe right behind him, and he's completely oblivious to it, and he hangs his umbrella on its arm.
Did you happen to recognize Lorelei from the MCU, the Monkees Cinematic Universe?
Who is she? I did.
She was Honey from Honey and the Bear in the microfilm in the Maraca episode. I forget her character name in that one, but that was her.
Oh, interesting. There you go. There's a few comebackers in this episode. So Davy looks at this painting of a vampire, and this vampire is played by Ron Masick. And he says it's very interesting, but then it moves, and then he scampers away, and he asks the pre-Elvira here, who I think she looks like her. Her real name is Arlene Martel. He asks who that is, and she says it's her uncle.
How long had he been dead when he posted that picture?
That's smooth delivery. That was great.
Yeah. And then the uncle sticks his tongue out at Davy in the picture. And Davy walks over to this like bat that's on a lampstand kind of thing. And he pulls the string and it says,
I want to drink your blood.
And that voice is none other than our man James Frawley, throwing his voice in every Monkees episode he can. I think he wanted to be a voice actor and just wanted to pad that resume.
I think we're going to hear his voice again later, talking to Mickey.
Yeah, we do. And then Davy says, that's a great conversation piece, isn't it? And Lorelei tells Davy that she wants to give him something. And it's very obvious that Davy wants nothing from this woman for some reason. He's not into these powerful big ladies. And he tries to leave, but before he goes, she asks for one kiss. And while she's asking, she's taking off her big, huge necklace. When she gets close to Dave, she puts it on him, and suddenly he's under her spell.
What a kiss! I've never felt this way before. You fool, it is not my kiss, but the magic necklace. What a necklace. I've never felt this way before.
There's no magic locket, but it'll have to do.
Yeah. Gaudy necklace. So suddenly the uncle yells, silence! And he climbs out of the picture. What? It wasn't a real picture?
Hubba what?
And he's super stoked about Davy, although he says he's a little short. And he says he's going to be perfect to be Dracula reborn. And then he goes into a full-on Dr. Evil laugh, which takes us to the intro.
They didn't call it that back then. And about a minute 45, which I think is a standard for a regular episode.
Yeah.
And we get to know what's going on. And here we go.
Exactly. So we come back to an episode-themed intro, which is nice and spooky. And at the pad, Mickey's sleeping in the living room, and Peter's prowling around in his orange jammies with the blue bunny on him, also worn in Monkey See, Monkey Die.
Yeah, he's had those on a few times. And yeah, if you had jammies on your Monkees bingo card, you're in luck.
Yeah, lucky you. That's like almost a center one. It's very important, very difficult to get. And so
Mike's got those Style and Paisley jammies. Those are nice.
Those are very nice. And Peter ends up scaring Mickey.
Don't do that!
And then Mike comes out to see what all the commotion's all about, and he scares Mickey and Peter. And Mike tells them to stop scaring each other and to turn on the light. And when they turn on the light, they all scare each other.
A lot of scares in this one. The scare per minute ratio is, I think, is the highest out of every episode ever.
Yeah, very high.
Of anything.
And Peter says that Davy should have been back by now, and Mike tells him that he has a number where he can reach him. He goes over to the red phone and he dials it, all funny like. And the uncle answers it.
I think Davy's in trouble. We better go help him.
Because of the
general vibe.
Yeah, general vibe.
He can read the room through the phone.
Yeah, that's how thick that vibe is. And Mike says they got to go save him. And Mickey and Peter agree and then instantly hide under the covers.
And once again, courageous American youth leaps into the 4 or 5.
So at the haunted castle, Uncle Drac gives Davy a beaker with some red-orange stuff in it and tells Davy it's just tomato juice.
So you mean tomato juice?
And Uncle Drac tells him just to drink it. And Davy chugs it back. And Uncle Dracula says in a few days he'll be drinking real blood. And then they go back and forth with this blood blah thing. And Davy says they think they have a hit.
Blood, 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 blood. I think we got a hit.
And so in another part of the castle, I was going to say it looks like the basement, but this whole castle looks like a basement. And Unky Drac gives Davy a genuine Dracula cape and tells him to fly. And Davy flaps his arms and begins to fly around and smashes into the wall, of course.
Yeah. And on like the lower quality editions of a Monkees episode, like some of them on YouTube, that dude is flying.
Yeah.
But on the Blu-rays, you're like, wait a minute. He's wired up but good.
Yeah.
The Peter Pan get up.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we cut to another exterior of the castle, which was also used in Monkey See, Monkey Die. They really hit the Monkey See, Monkey Die vault for this episode. And the boys come up to the door and ring the bell. It's like a gong. And Mickey tells Peter that if Davy's in that castle, they'll find him. Uncle Drac opens up the door and invites them in, and Mickey instantly wants to bail.
On second thought, no.
But Mike tells Uncle Drac that they're friends of Davy Jones. And Lorelei asks them to come in, and Mickey has a change of heart.
On third thought, yes.
And Unky Drac does the Dr. Evil laugh, and the boys join him, and it's actually pretty hilarious. It really is like an Austin Powers scene where everybody just starts laughing together for a little while. Which I read in an interview with Mike Myers that this episode was the basis for Dr. Evil and all his cronies. Not just the laugh, the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like this episode was the basis for Lorne Michaels' whole demeanor and how he behaves.
I wouldn't be surprised. Whenever I see Lorne Michaels, I'm like, you kind of giving off a Monstrous Monkee vibe. I got to tell you right now. So inside the castle, we see Wolfman, who's apparently supposed to keep an eye on Davy, who's chained to the wall. And Davy asks him why they keep him downstairs when they get to walk around upstairs. And he tells them that they're treating him like a dog. And Wolfman seems to take all this in. It's like the first time it's occurred to him. And Wolfman is played by David Pearl, just so you know.
He's one of the stand-ins for the Monkees, I think.
Yeah, we got a bunch of him coming up.
I think that's the first time he gets like a credit. I think, yeah.
According to IMDb, he's uncredited, so yeah, he doesn't actually get.
I thought he got like a stage credit for this one.
No, not this one. He gets one actually for the Christmas show because he gets pulled in at the end, and he gets credit for that. But anyway, So the boys follow Lorelei and Uncle Drac into the living room, which is actually the library. I kept thinking it was a living room at first, but it's a library. And they tell the boys that they have work to do. And Mike asks where Davy is, and she tells him that he drove into town and will be back soon. Which is lies. All lies.
Yep.
So they leave the dudes alone, and they wonder why Davy would go out on a night like that. And Mickey sees Davy's umbrella, and he almost gets chopped in half with the knight's axe. And then Peter scolds them about being suspicious of a nice man and his niece who happen to keep a bat in the living room. And he's talking about the bat lamp thing. And Mike freaks out because he doesn't like bats. And then Peter stumbles around for a bit for some reason.
A bat? Lats in the living. Keep bats in the... They just carry bats in the... This is disgusting.
And then Mickey screams. But then we hear James Frawley's voice. And he and Mickey talk about the size of scare Mickey should have. And it's like a really cool, fun moment.
All right, good.
Would you like a little bit bigger? That was my medium scare.
All right, do another one.
Would you like a long one?
A small one.
Small one?
Yeah. Good.
And it shows you like the freewheelingness of the show at this point. It's like...
Yeah.
And
it makes me wonder what the size of the scare is that Mickey rolls up onto Mike with in a short while.
Yeah. Wonder if that's where they get like the Dolan scare, like the Richter scale for Dolan scares, the Dolan scale.
Oh boy.
So Peter says he'll have a look around, and he spins around in a circle to look around. Jesus. And then at one point, one of the pictures of Unky, Drac, and Lorelei pop into frame. Like it's like a blank frame, and then boop, there they are, monkey style. And Peter's impressed with the instant portrait, which I heard this episode was the basis for the Polaroid camera. So the inventors were watching this, like an instant portrait. How could that happen? Next thing you know, they were going to call it the Monstrous Monkee Mash picture maker, but then they decided that was a little too much.
Monstrous Monkee Mash oid camera. This episode is a gold mine.
It is. See, it's because they're borrowing from so many other episodes. It gets the juices flowing.
For real.
So Mike starts reading about vampires because they're in the library. And there's a scary picture of Uncle Drac. And Peter goes off about seeing that face before.
I know I've seen that face before. I know I've seen that face before. I have faced that scene before. Oh, faced it.
And Uncle Drac says that his brain will be perfect for the monster because he doesn't have a brain in his head. He's talking to Lorelei when they're sitting in the portrait there, the instant portrait. So Mike tells Mickey that the book is about how you turn into a vampire. And then Mickey freaks out because he thinks it's a specific book to him, Mickey Dolenz, about how to become a vampire. Which is, oh God.
Yeah.
So the bat lamp starts yapping, and Mike notices that the vampire in the picture is the one from the book, and Peter says that he recognized him from the front gate. Mickey says that he told Davy to stop hanging around with vampires, and they all go crazy with fear.
I told him 1,000 times, he says.
Yeah.
I told Davy 1,000 times, man, stop hanging around with vampires. I know it.
I just see some of these episodes they're dragging Davy away from vampires, like literally all the time. Yeah. And the stuff about Peter being like brainwashed or like having a brain switch, they did this at least once or twice, it seems like.
Yeah, we have. We've these waters have been chummed. We're in episode 50 now. They're just like, oh God, what else can we do? So Mike tells them all to be quiet so they can whisper so no one will hear their plans. And the little Lorelei in the pictures, she takes out a quill and licks it. And Uncle Drac asks if she cut her tongue. Hopefully. Because he wants her blood, obviously. Which seems weird because it's his niece. But is that weird? Like, I don't know how the blood drinking etiquette goes within family members.
He gets the vampire pass for this one. And let's move on.
I guess so. Mike says,
Look, if the uncle comes back in, right? Pretend that everything is groovy.
And he tells Peter to search the house, and he refuses. And he says he wants to stay with Mike where it's safe.
I gotta hand you one thing, Pete. What's that? You have a great respect for fear. You're right. It scares me to death. What? Fear does.
And Mike says, come on, Mick. But Mickey can't hear him because Peter's in the way. So then Mike says it into Peter's ear, and Mickey hears it through Peter's other ear because he doesn't have a brain in his head.
And you see, but like the sigh Mike gives after Peter's talking about being afraid of fear, and Mike just sighs. Like, they have to cut it. It's so long.
So now Mickey and Mike split, but they have trouble getting out of the door, which has been a reoccurring thing in these episodes. The Monkees have a hard time getting out of the door. So Davy's laying it on thick to Wolfman, telling him that he's always second billing to Dracula, and what he needs is a good agent because they're exploiting him. And Wolfman seems to agree. And when Lorelei comes down, he gets all up in her face, and she asks what he wants. And Davy says
He wants a better percentage of the profits. He wants cookouts on the weekends, and he wants to play his own music.
Nooch.
I love that so much.
Lorelei agrees, and they shake on it, and Davy's happy. But why should Davy be? He's still chained to the wall. He should have thrown in, and he wants Davy Jones to be set free. That's what we should have had there. Davy needs an agent.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? And actually,
Turns out Wolfman's big Dave Clark 5 guy. Doesn't care if the Monkees come off the wall or not.
but interesting note here, when we're saying Davy needs an agent with this Wolfman character,
Oh boy.
the guy playing the Wolfman, was it David Pearl? He becomes Davy Jones's agent later in Davy's career.
Holy
True, that's true.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, but that's an actual thing.
Legitimate tea has to be.
Yeah, it really is. So upstairs, Peter's looking at the bat lamp, and Lorelei pops up just out of nowhere and says, "Hello, Peter." He says, "Bye, Lorelei," and he tries to get out, and she asks why he's leaving. And he says that he's read all the books. And she says, "All 640 volumes?" And he says, "I took a speed reading course."
Huh?
She tells him that she loves an educated man, and he asks if she's Davy's girl, and she says no. So he starts to kiss her, and then she puts the necklace on him. That's all it took.
Immediately, like less than half a second later. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah, okie doke. Let's do this.
What a kiss. I've never felt this way before.
You fool! It was not my kiss, but the magic necklace.
What a necklace. I've never felt this way before.
So Wolfman comes into the room and gathers up Peter. And when he turns around, Unky Drac is there, and they scare each other.
Don't do that.
Hey.
So Uncle Drac tells Wolfman to put Peter down because he's a dum-dum, and they can use his brain and put whatever thoughts they want into it. Wolfman ain't down with that, and Uncle Drac says, "Don't make me use my magical powers." And he lifts up his cape in front of him and pulls out some hot dog links, which makes Wolfman drop Peter, and he goes after the dogs.
I love hot dogs.
Uncle Drac tells Lorelei to take Peter to the laboratory, and they scamper off. So Mike and Mickey are creeping through the halls, and they scare each other again. We should have had a drinking game with the scaring each other. But then
This is the one for that, for sure.
definitely. Then a door opens up, and a mummy shows up, and the boys are disgusted with them.
Oh, you dirty! Wow, where did you get that suit? What a mess!
And they tell him to get out of there, and he just kind of lumbers off. And Mickey tells Mike that he's scared, and he wants to leave. But Mike says they haven't found Davy, and Mickey says that they could form a trio. And Mike brushes him off, and they'll go look in the library where Peter is. They open the door, and they don't see Peter.
He's gone!
And Mickey says that it could be a duet. But if Mike goes missing, he'll be a single. And then he sings a theme song, and it's pretty hilarious.
Here I come, walking down the street. I get the funniest looks from all the people I meet. I am a monkey.
It's just it's undercut with some deep heartbreak nowadays. I'll tell you what.
It's true. I didn't pick that up the first time I was watching it and making notes.
As you might know, he's touring again
He is.
as a tribute to his fallen comrades. You better open with that. Here I come.
Yeah. That'll be a very cool. I like that he's got it wrapped around like it's a tribute to the Monkees now. He's not like,
It
I'm the
makes
Monkees.
sense. Like,
He's going
you
out.
can't imagine he would just stop.
Well, yeah, of course. What's he going to
Singing.
do? Like,
And he's playing the Opry, so we might have to go if we can make it. We got to go see him down at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville.
yeah, that'd be a good buzz.
I didn't notice that was on the schedule. Like, I'd like to see him in Wisconsin because that's Madison's a happening town. But either way, we got to make somehow we got to make one of these. It's getting farther and farther. But Nick, we got to come see you.
Yeah, exactly. Someone set that up for us. Have your people call our people.
Pretty please.
So then that takes us to the commercial break. And we come back to the monkey see, monkey die castle shot again. And inside, Mike and Mickey are snooping around. And Mike says that if anything happens, they'll meet back in the library. And Mickey wants to go back to the pad right now. It's a very cowardly Mickey episode. But Mike says no, and they start creeping around. Behind them, the Wolfman shows up. And Mike asks Mickey if he hears footsteps. And Mickey says no, but they should get out of there because it's not his kind of house. It wouldn't be mine either. I got to hear you there, Mick. So Mike finds a secret door and scoots into it, but Mickey wants to stay behind because he doesn't want to go down some secret door in a scary castle. So he starts to tell the Wolfman that he shouldn't just be going to secret doors in a creepy house. And then he tells the Wolfman that he should get a haircut because he won't get into Disneyland, which I guess was an issue in 1968, apparently. I don't know.
Sounds like it probably was. Yeah. I wonder if that actually happened to one of the boys.
Yeah,
But here in the MCU, I wonder if later on, when they're back safe at the beach house, if Peter and Davy come at Mickey a little bit, say, hey, we're trying to puss out for rescuing us at the haunted house.
It'd only be if Mike rats him out. Like, hey, guys, I don't want to spill any tea here, but Mickey wanted to go home pretty bad before we found you. I got to tell you, he didn't even come into the scary door I went into. Mickey just sheepishly sitting. It's true, guys. I was scared. I don't know. So finally, Mickey realizes he's talking to the Wolfman, and he screams and takes off out of there. And then he goes back to the library where he barricades the door with all this furniture. He spins around to see Laura Lee and, again, gets scared. He tells her that there are monsters out there, and she says, all coy-like, well, what are we going to do? And Mickey gets brave for a second. He says, like, he'll protect her because his middle name is Danger. The Wolfman roars outside, and Mickey freaks out and says that his last name is Chicken. Quiet, isn't it, Mickey? Danger, Chicken. So Laura Lee puts the necklace on Mickey Danger Chicken, and she kisses him.
What a kiss. I've never felt this way before. You fool, it is not my kiss, but the magic necklace. What a necklace. I've never felt this way before. Oh, shut up.
And Laura Lee tells Wolfman that this one is yours, and Wolfman is in the hall eating a banana, and he just opens up the doors because they open out, and so all the furniture really did nothing at all. Wolfman could have come in at any time.
It's always fun when that happens.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So down in the basement, Mike is telling Mickey that he's sure glad he's with him, because if he was all alone, he'd be really scared. And then he turns around and realizes Mickey isn't with him, and he is all alone, and he is really scared. So he yells out for Mickey.
Mickey! Mickey! Mickey!
And then he yells out for Davy.
Davy! Davy!
And then he yells out for Peter.
Peter!
And the echo comes back as Mike after he yells out for Peter.
What the heck?
So then he opens up a sarcophagus, and the mummy's in there, and Mike stammers a bit and then closes it and takes off back upstairs. He ends up in the library again and climbs into the painting. So Uncle Drac and Laura Lee come in, and he says that all the monsters shall live tonight, and he starts to tell her what they need to do. And then suddenly a pad and paper, or like a quill and a pad, end up in Mike's hands, and he starts to take notes. But that's their jam. Like, Unky Drac and Laura Lee know that you go into the painting. That's, you know what I mean? That's their jam. But now Mike's in there, and they think nothing of it, that there's a new guy in the painting. You know, this is on them at this point. So Unky Drac says that they're going to take Peter downstairs at midnight with the monster and transfer their brains. And he asks Laura Lee if she knows what that means, and she says,
Peter with a monster's brain.
No, you fool, the other way around. The monster in Peter's brain. No. Peter in the monster's brain. No, wait. Peter's brain in the monster.
So Mike asks Unky Drac for an eraser because they went back and forth on the plan so many times. So he gives him one and they split. And Mike writes down the pertinent information. So downstairs, there's all kinds of torture devices, and Mickey says that he's starting to get nervous. But he's been nervous the whole time. Like, this is the most calm Mickey's been since his audition, essentially. And he says now he's starting to get nervous.
Boy.
So Mickey complains about being turned into a wolf man, and Davy says that being a bat is worse. And he says all they do is get in people's hair, which is weird. Mickey wonders what it would be like to be monsters, and then we flash into this fantasy sequence with Davy being a vampire, Mickey's the wolf man. And Davy asks him why he can't be more articulate because Mickey can't talk right because he's a wolf man. And then Davy starts complaining, like, where's the girl that's in all vampire movies? And then he wants to bite her neck kind of thing. Mickey tells him to hold on, and then he howls, and this pretty blonde girl shows up and just walks past them, and then that's about it for her character arc in this episode. Davy notices that someone's...
Is that Valerie? Is that where Valerie shows up? Or is that during the romp later?
I think that's her there, yeah. I believe so.
One of her many appearances in the series.
Exactly. Yeah, I bring it up in the things. Yeah, she shows up a lot more than I'd realized. Mm-hmm. And Davy notices that someone is coming, and Mickey tells him not to be silly. It's a fantasy sequence. And Unky Drac comes down, and he says that he sees they're already dressed, and he tells Davy to stand up straight because he's got a lot to be proud of. So Mickey tells him to back off because it's a fantasy sequence, and Davy tells him that every show has a fantasy sequence, and he lays down the rules of the romp. And says that no one interrupts the romps. Like, they get to go off in these sequences. And Unky Drac says that it looks like the show is now going to be different. And Mickey tells him to get out of their fantasy. And Drac says, oh, so in these fantasies you can do whatever you want? And they say yes. And he tells them to try to take off their monster makeup then. And then he walks away laughing. They try to take off their makeup. It won't come off. So they start to protest to the makeup people. And they try to walk off set. And we see that Uncle Drac is in the director's chair. And he tells them that this is their new reality and that they're not in control there. He is. And he's sitting beside the camera, and I think you see the monkey's pad in the background. I think that's the other set we're seeing there.
Oh, wow.
But so he says he can control anything just by thinking about it. And he tells Wolfman to chain them up and for Laura Lee to go on with the operation. And then he laughs himself right out of the room. He's a pretty jolly guy, Unky Drac. He's all right. He has a good time. So Mike's coming back downstairs, and he starts to get a little swagger going, and then he trips and falls down the stairs. He hears Unky Drac coming his way, so he knocks on the sarcophagus and says he's only going to beat it on the next stop, and he hops in with the mummy. Uncle Drac comes through with 2 bodies under sheets on 2 stretchers, and he introduces them as Frank and Stein.
Little joke.
Ugh.
Yeah, even he knows it's bad. Unky Drac goes to a bubbly beakery area, and Mike pops out of the sarcophagus with some rags on his head, and in what looks like to be a filthy winter coat or something. Like, at the end of the winter time, you see some kid just wearing a disgusting white winter jacket, and that looks exactly like what Mike is wearing here. So
a long day of playing in the snow-plowed, dirty, salty, dirty snow.
Exactly. Too many recesses, couple lunch hours, just ruins that jacket. So Unky Drac calls for the mummy, and he calls him Mummy Man, which sounds weird to me, but I guess we'll go with it. And Mike pops up, and he says that he's the Mummy Man. Uncle Drac questions him, and Mike yells, "Mummy!" at the Wolfman, and Wolfman freaks out. So Uncle Drac says, "I'll buy that." And Uncle Drac comes up to one of the bodies, and he says that he has a scalpel. And Mike says, that's not a scalpel, it's a bone chisel. And Uncle Drac asks what it does, and Mikey says it's used to split. And then he grabs one of the stretchers, and Uncle Drac says, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm going to split. And then he just leaves, just gets to leave with this body, which he assumes is Peter. He thinks he's getting Peter back. So Mike drags the stretcher into the room where Mickey and Davy are chained to the wall. And Mike goes to set Davy and Mickey free, but he tells Mickey that he needs to get a haircut or they won't let him into Disneyland looking like that. So, something going on there. So, back in the other room, Uncle Drac and Laura Lee are still looking over the tools, and it dawns on him that the mummy was actually a monkey and that he's going to set the others free. Laura Lee's the only thinking person, and she says, well, they still have control over the others. And Uncle Drac says that he can control them with his thought waves. And he takes over Mickey's mind through a kind of mental Bluetooth action. And then Mickey attacks Mike.
He's really biting my hand, you know.
Sure, it was really mental Bluetooth action.
I think that's where they got the idea for Bluetooth, I read.
You read that?
I did. It was in Wired.
Again.
It's in Wired. Read it. It's issue 424. So Davy pulls Mickey off of Mike, but then Uncle Drac takes over Davy's mind, and he tries to bite Mike's neck. And Mike tries to wake up Peter, but Peter's in the other room with Uncle Drake and Laura Lee, and the monster's in the room with Mike and Davy. Uncle Drac laments that Peter is lifeless, so they can't take him over. Laura Lee, once again being the only thinking human in this house, says they have the energizing switch in the room with them, which is very convenient. And Uncle Drac is super stoked that they can bring the monster to life from there. And then he says to her that she's not such a bad kid. They go over to this big, gray, ugly switch, and they say a couple stupid jokes, and they pull the switch, which leads us to Monkees Romp with Going Down, oddly enough, as our Monkees Romp song.
A very spooky tune.
It is. I guess he thinks he's going to drown. That's not a fun situation.
I suppose it's true. Not many horn sections and a lot of haunted houses, though.
Not usually, no. Unless the jump scares, like the So Frankenstein's monster raises up from under the sheet in the room with the boys. He chases them around. Uncle Drac gets scared of the mummy. Then he turns him into the pretty blonde girl from before. And she's there all of a sudden. Uncle Drac tries to bite her neck, and she slaps him, wrapping up her character's sequel story arc. The two wolfmen fight over a fire hydrant for a while. Frankenstein's monster walks right past Davy because he's so short. Mike has a torch, and Uncle Drac comes up from behind him and lights a cigar off of it, which then explodes. Peter's standing around dazed, and Wolfman tries to scare him, but Peter throws a bone and he chases after it. Davy and Uncle Drac stare at each other and do a really bad mirror game thing. Mike sticks a battery on one side of Frankenstein's monster's head, like inside his neck where those bolts are, and then it makes him smile each time he touches it. Mike has a kick out of that. You cut back to Davy and Uncle Drac still doing the mirror thing. Davy doesn't have a glove on. He puts one on. Hilarious. Frankenstein monster licks the battery and sticks it in Mike's ear, and he does not look impressed. And I don't know if we're getting a real Mike Nesmith reaction there for getting a licky battery in his ear or not. But I say yes. Mickey's getting strangled by the mummy, but he grabs a piece of cloth and just spins the mummy out of there. Peter's using a can opener on the knight's armor. Davy climbs a ladder to get to Frankenstein monster's nose, and he twists it, and then the monster just reaches out and strangles Davy and lifts him into the air. The knight's armor and Laura Lee, they're dancing. Then the Frankenstein's monster cuts in, and he starts dancing with the knight's armor. Laura Lee cuts back in. There's a whole lover's triangle going there. Uncle Drac is chasing Peter, and he pulls out a big sucker, and Uncle Drac runs away because he's scared of it for some reason. Because he's the only sucker, maybe? I don't know. But then he comes back and steals a sucker, scares Peter. Lots of cuts of quick faces. Really old footage of the boys running around.
Yeah. Like the fountain thing for a bit.
Yeah.
Or they're jumping over that water.
Yeah. And then that's the end of the romp. And essentially the end of everything, because the boys are all back together in the library. And Mike says that he read that once the monsters are defeated, they can't come back for 1,000 years. And then Peter asks what time it is and looks at his watch.
Oh, it's a nice watch. You bought that, Michael.
Mickey says that the only monsters in the book were Dracula, Wolfman, the Mummy, and Frankenstein's monsters. So there are no more monsters. And then the book starts to float, and Peter freaks out. And the boys tell them that it's just special effects, and they use scissors, and they cut the book down, and it falls and lands on Peter's foot. But and that is Monstrous Monkee Mash.
Wow.
Whew. I'm out of breath. So much happened.
One big spooky romp when you get down to it.
It really was. Yeah, it just could have been a full romp the whole time, like a silent movie.
They just play Going Down 5 times in a row. Just running around a haunted house. There's your show.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so overall thoughts. This is a fun one, I think. All 4 monkeys are in it, so that's always fun.
It is. It's definitely a second season show.
Definitely.
Second season episode, but it's got that, the fast motion Monkees music when Mickey's doing the thing, putting up the furniture. You don't hear all that all the time, and it's very, it reminds you're watching the Monkees.
Yeah. It's a great a mishmash, a Monstrous Monkee mishmash of new school monkeys and old school monkeys kind of put together. They have the nods to the older episodes, Peter's pajamas, the castle, the old footage of them running around.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, it's a fun episode. It's kind of it's not following such a formula as other episodes have. You know what I mean? Like it does, but it's also got some room to stretch out. So
it's got some like very scripty, corny jokes, but also has some moments where they're just kind of goofing around, getting from point A to point B in the scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No guns in this episode.
Huh.
There's axes and bats. There's
fangs,
torches, but no guns. No guns. So chalk that up.
How about that?
Highlight of the show.
I like it when we could say the hey I'm a monkey thing is there, but I also like it when Mickey is talking to Frawley off camera.
That's what I was gonna say. That's my favorite thing, where it's not like when they break the fourth wall later when Dracula is the director. You know what I mean? It's a scripted wall break, but that was like a real moment that they just put it in there, and it's
kind of fun.
Yeah, and it's got to be for the time pretty cool. I bet that's like a major late '60s hip television show move. I think.
Yeah, you didn't see that shit like that. No.
Was there a Monkees ruse? I don't think so.
No, I guess not.
No, they didn't really lie to anybody. They were getting lied to. They were the rusees. Hey, we're the rusees. Fourth wall break, many. There's the one where they walk off set. That was kind of a scripted fourth wall break, but still it was there. There's the Frawley thing where Frawley talks to Mickey.
At the start when the boys are hiding and Mike addresses the camera.
Yep, that too. And then when they cut the strings off the book at the end.
Yeah.
Showing the special effects.
Yeah, I think once in a while Davy looks at the camera and he says, like, I think we got a hit and stuff like that.
Yeah. And Davy at the very, very beginning goes, oh. He throws it in there.
He's still trying to make it a thing.
Yeah, it's at the very beginning. I think when he notices a book or so. Oh, it's when he notices the bat lamp. He goes, what do we have over here? Best musical moment, there's only Going Down. So it wins.
In the reruns later, Going Down, like in the 70s, like Saturday mornings and stuff, Going Down was replaced by your favorite, Bye Bye Baby, Bye Bye.
Interesting. I'd like to see a cut of that. That'd be kind of neat.
Bye bye, baby, bye bye, don't wanna make you cry.
And speaking of the Monkees music, at the end of the first day of shooting, the boys head to the studio for the first sessions of the album that would become The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees.
Really, eh?
True facts.
What an action-packed week.
So they did not go trick-or-treating.
What a bummer. They should have dressed as each other. Like Davy goes as Mike, Peter goes as Mickey, etc.
Mickey's got the orange pajamas on.
Yeah, and Peter just has a big, huge afro on. Classic Monkees moments. There's a couple. There's returns of Don't Do That's. That shows up. We said Davy does the what wouldn't fly in 2022? Nothing. It's all good, I think. I don't see this being a problem with anything. Okay, so we're in the Did You Knows. We've brought up David Pearl before, saying he needs a better agent, and he became Davy Jones's agent/manager. But also we're saying he was a stand-in for the Monkees, mostly Peter. He was often Peter's stand-in. Yeah, he's in a whole bunch of episodes, like notably the Christmas one. He's one of the crew members that gets pulled out at the end.
Yep.
And so David Pearl, keep an eye out for him. He did great things. Arlene Martell, who played Laura Lee, she has 74 credits. Most of them like one-offs in different television series and things like that.
Yep.
Ron Masick, who plays Uncle Drac, he has 122 credits.
Not bad.
And stuff's still going on. He still has some stuff in pre-production and post-production. So keep an eye out for him. Mike Lane, he played Frankenstein's monster. He has 61 credits. He was in the Monster Squad TV show as Frankenstein.
Come on.
And before this Monkees episode, he played Frankenstein in another movie.
Holy.
He plays Frankenstein 3 times in his career, which is pretty crazy.
Talk about typecast.
Exactly. Hey, you, don't say anything and be tall. Perfect. You're hired. And Valerie Karras, she's the pretty blonde. She has 7 credits to her name, and she's in 13 Monkees episodes.
That's wild.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy. Okay. Ooh, what is that? I'm hearing something.
Hey, what is up now?
Once again, everybody's favorite second half of the episode, the Randomatic countdown featuring the Woolhat of Mystery. Hashtag that whole thing. And that'll be your
whole tweet.
That's your whole tweet right there. But get it trending. It is time for that magic moment where we reach into the Woolhat of Mystery and pull out 3 Monkees songs to add to our ongoing Monkee song countdown. All right, who goes again? We should figure out who always goes first or second. I think
it was you. I mean, your turn, because I think I did too last time.
Yeah, I think so. All right, I'm gonna reach into this Woolhat of Mystery here and see what I can pull out on this marvelous Monkees Mash day. Well, maybe something spooky will come out. All right, I have Someday Man.
I was born someday man of a baby child. I was born someday man, I was always wild.
I gotta say, major jam. I really like Someday Man.
It's pretty decent. It is pretty decent.
It's like Davy in his element, but also not in the Davy schmaltz element, in like the Davy like party element.
Yes, and it was co-written by Roger Nichols and Paul Williams. Yes, that Paul Williams, who did a lot of stuff with like the Muppets and Daft Punk, and he's like kind of an icon in his own right. This is some early work by him, and it was also produced by Bones Howe, who did a lot of production work with the Turtles and the Fifth Dimension and Tom Waits. But as a Davy Jones tune, it's got that kind of, kind of the horns and the schmaltziness, but it's not too schmaltzy, and it's a fun listen.
Yeah,
and it works with his kind of swagger.
I agree. It gets you stoked again. Instant replay bass on almost on par with that Changes bass. It's fantastic. And I really dig this song more than I think people would think I do.
I believe it was the B-side to Listen to the Band, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a pretty good 1-2 punch, I'd say.
Yeah. But yeah, where would you like to put it in the old countdown, homeboy?
For me, I would put it right after Zoran Zam and before A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You at number 46. I don't know how you feel. I feel that's a pretty good spot for it.
That is a good spot. I don't think it was actually on Instant Replay. I think it was just like on the single. I think it's on the massive reissue with all the other, like the 80 song Instant Replay. I don't think it's on Instant Replay proper.
So then would this be like an honorary slip-in song? Or
No, because it's a legit single. Also, Someday Man peaked at number 81 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
Well, we almost have it half higher.
Look out. Just a scotch.
Alrighty. Jeff, put your hand in the hat.
Yeah, let me see what we got here. Unlucky Stars.
Ooh, finally.
I think was this that favorite song you were talking about?
Finally, it's been unearthed.
I think this is a Justice jam, if I'm not mistaken.
Unlucky stars are in my sky. My fortune teller.
Unlucky Stars from the Justice album.
All right, so above or below, I'm a believer.
Well, see, okay, here's my thing with Unlucky Stars. When I first heard it, when we were just doing the re-listen, I was kind of like, ugh, God. But it's not that it's a bad song by any means. It's like a bluesy shuffle. Mickey wrote it. and he sings the hell out of it. It just doesn't feel like a Monkee song, you know?
Like, but you know, they do the Monkees do the 50s thing, like in 33 1/3, and like the Dolenz Jones, Boyce and Hart. They'll do like the Chuck Berry or like a Little Richard or a Fats Domino kind of thing. Do the Pompadours and whatever, but just just do you, man.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, it came out in 1996, and it's like, where was, like, other songs of theirs sound like they're trying to kind of fit in with the times, but then there's this song where it's like, okay, cool, like a Mickey Dolenz. If it was on a Mickey Dolenz solo album, I'd buy it. Like, I don't mean I'd buy the album, but I mean like I'd buy it being on that album and be like, oh yeah, for sure, why not, Mickey, go crazy. But being on a Monkees album just sounds odd to me.
The 50s was not in 1996.
No, oddly enough.
When Soundgarden was like the #1 band in the world, and you're putting out these tunes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It ain't, I don't know. See, it feels a little out of touch. But, you know, like you said, it's capably performed.
Yeah.
But, like, just feels inessential, let's say.
There you go. All right, so where do you want to put this gem? It's like when you got to put your date of birth in a thing, you're scrolling way low. You're scrolling down for a long time now. It's like, what happened here?
I'm just gonna put it above Ladies Aid Society. It's our new number 139.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big meh.
Any of these songs that go below Ladies Aid Society, it's like getting voted out first on Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you're just like, no, really?
Anyway, I think you got one last tune to pull, Senor Paco.
Let's see how we're going out. Like a lion or a lamb.
Get those phalanges in for something good.
Okay. Ooh, I had one and dropped it. Somebody changed the course of history. All right. Just a game.
There's a way for you and I, if you'll just stay. If you'll just stay to keep me hidden from the day and all its light that's covered up by night when you're away.
Okay, just a game off of Instant Replay. Written, sung by Mickey.
Big day for Mick here at Podcast Valley Sunday.
It really is. You're right. It is a big day for Mickey Danger Chicken for the Woolhat Mystery. It's a cool song. It's really short. It's only like a minute 50 seconds in and out.
Yeah, you could easily jam like 7 or 8 of these on an album, and they do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's a fun little tune. It's not like mind blowing or mind boggling or anything like that, but it's not a bad song.
That's neat how it connects up and how it flows. It's lyrically kind of pretty creative, and it's not just like a straightforward thing. It's kind of got that Mickey Dolenz-ness to it. For any song that he writes, it's got kind of a something different about it, something unique and creative.
Yeah. He really took to the songwriting. I know he was in like Mickey and the One. No, what were they called? Mickey and the
One-Nighters.
Oh, it was one that. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. And I thought it was wrong. But yeah, so he was into bands and stuff beforehand, but he really took to songwriting really well because I think he's a good storyteller and it really worked out for him.
For sure.
Obviously, that Danger Chicken sure has a future in the music business.
There's if you dig it up, I think during the headquarters sessions is when they first worked on this in a more of a stripped down setting, obviously with less strings and horns and flutes and whatnot.
Just a game.
So just a game. I am thinking it can go between Mr. Webster and P.O. Box 9847.
98.7.
P.O. Box.
Chooch and the douche.
Yeah.
Mornings.
Chooch and the douche.
Pew, pew, pew.
So I'm thinking it's going to go at number 97, the Hot 97. Just a Game from Instant Replay, written and sung by Mr. Mickey Danger Chicken.
So our new number 98 is P.O. Box 9847.
Yeah, I think that's a good place for it. It's not super great, not super bad, pretty much. It's a marmalade.
That's right. Right behind Mr. Webster. For
Yeah.
you diehards, you know that was the first tune ever pulled from the toque.
Yeah, our former number one, Mr. Webster.
For a minute. And that'll do it for another round of the Randomatic Countdown featuring the Woolhat Mystery. Good times, as always.
Yeah, we got some definite new tunes, some different tunes in this one. So it's always fun to revisit some songs you might have forgotten about.
Some chooches, some douches.
All around a great day.
Absolutely.
All right, so that just about wraps it up for Podcast Valley Sunday.
Woo.
So from me, Paco,
And me, Jeff.
have yourselves a monkey's little evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.